Hello, hello, hello. Can y'all hear me? Are y'all with me? Well, I am so excited. Are y'all here in the chat? Who's with me? Who's ready to go? Come on, somebody. I see Helena in the chat. I see Edward in the chat. Esther said always with you. Thank you, Esther. You are loyal. Okay, come on now. Braden's in the house. Amy's in the house. Darcy's in the house. Yo, well, I am so excited for this next talk because it's really touching home on something that I care a lot about, and that is inclusivity. Okay, a lot of times we think about how is AI going to move us forward and all the different things that we're going to do, but a lot of times we forget about who is left out of the conversation. And we're going to talk about all of that and so much more in this next session called Empowered AI, building inclusive and responsible human first technology. This session is led by the amazing Abran Maldonaldo of Create Labs Ventures. Abran is a globally recognized AI thought leader and co-founder of Create Labs, an award-winning startup led by Black and Brown innovators at the forefront of generative AI and digital human design. He is the creator of Claire AI, you gonna get me together, okay? CLAIRA, come on now, the first GPT-powered digital woman of color, and was among the earliest prompt engineers to test OpenAI's model. As an OpenAI ambassador, Abran supports responsible AI use, particularly in education and social impact. His work merges culture and innovation to ensure AI reflects diverse voices and has been featured in the Washington Post, Wired, and Fast Company. He is joined by an amazing panel of guests, and I know they're going to all introduce themselves. So, with no further ado, please help me welcome Abran and the team to the stage.
Hi,
Hey,
everyone.
y'all. What's
Hey,
up,
thank you,
everybody?
Floyd.
That was amazing, Floyd. You definitely brought the energy. I love it. You know, we're going to be here. We're going to chop it up and talk to you about all the great things that we're doing and truly how to do AI the right way. So I want to make sure that we're all in it together, that we understand what's possible with this technology. But first, I'm just going to, introduce what we do at Create Labs and why Empowered is such an amazing moment and opportunity for all of us in this room today. So as a developer of social impact AI technologies, we've been working with these models from the very beginning. I am the co-founder of Create Labs, and we were one of the early beta testers and early trusted ambassadors of the what we now know as the GPT technology, along with being an early trusted tester of all the Google Gemini technologies as well. But we came into that space as social impact advocates and social impact specialists. We came with that lens of making sure that we were people first and we were responsible with how we handle bias, diversity, representation, and caring for the community and empowering the community through AI. So, I travel the world now as a global speaker and thought leader, futurist, they call me sometimes on AI. But this product is especially important. I'm especially passionate about what we've created here. And I brought the whole team to kind of build on it. So I'll go along and let everyone else from the team introduce themselves and also what they contribute, not only to the community, but to this product and Empowered. So I see you from left to right on the bottom. Vincent, why don't you take it from here?
Thanks, Abran. I'm so glad to be here with y'all today. My name is Vincent McNeeley. I use he, him pronouns. I'm gay, I'm Latino, I'm neurodivergent, I have a Black boyfriend across lots of the intersectionalities. And doing this work matters a lot to me because I want our technology that we use every day as engineers or as nonprofit leaders, of which I'm both, to be reflective of things that, matter to us and to help us. So I joined Abran and the Create Labs team about 2 years ago. I came from a large Silicon Valley-based tech company where I was a senior engineer, and now I work in the nonprofit space and I work alongside Abran to help make this tool representative of so many different people that are doing great justice work in the fields of social justice or climate justice, mental health justice, the justice that all of us seek in the world that we live in, and the work that nonprofits do, I think needs to be intersected. And it is what led me here to Empowered. And I've seen that, we've forged some really cool partnerships. I'm a partnership leader at Create Labs and with Empowered in particular, but I also help on the product side and providing, strategic guidance and building our roadmap for the future, which we're excited to invite you all into and be a part of today. So thank you, Abran. I'll pass it over to Kanene.
Hi, everyone. Wherever you are tuning in throughout the world, welcome. We want to be a sea of tranquility, hence my background around artificial intelligence. And so we are here to empower you, right? I know there's a lot of headlines, it's woo, woo, every day there's issues, the money, but we are here to provide a clear call to action, which is to use it and to trust us and to use our tool called Empower, which I help manage. So I'm Canadian idol holder. I am an educator, an artist, I guess also a futurist. So I come from the world of education and nonprofits. I was a director of history at Harlem Children's Zone. I was also director of arts and technology at Broome Street Academy, which is a school for LGBTQAI plus immigrant, homeless, and other marginalized youth in New York City, partnering with this amazing organization called The Door. And so wherever I was for over 15 years of educating, my goal was always to amplify the voices of the unheard, set them up for success, whoever they are, whatever skills they have, or whatever tests say that they don't have those skills. How can we still create a safe space and set them up for success? And so I built that into how I also manage and offer services around artificial intelligence. It is all about you. What do you need? And how can AI leverage, scale, right? And amplify who you are in ways that you or your team might not have been able to leverage before. I spoke at Fast Company's Innovation Festival last year around bias in artificial intelligence through my character that I also do. That's also comedic. So I also believe in sharing information in ways that can be received, that are humorous, that are inspiring, that are engaging. Right. So really thrilled to be here today, and I'm going to pass it to Brian.
So thank you, Kanene. So before we give it to Brian, who better to help me and help us build a safe and responsible and GuardRailz product than the founder of GuardRailz and Tech Ally? So Brian, take it away and let us know your amazing work.
Thank you so much, Abran. So my name is Brian Jagger. I'm an AI engineer and AI architect. I've been in the AI development space since about 2017, specifically in generative AI since 2019. So before the big boom happened, I've been building with generative AI tools since they were called that. I have had the absolute honor and pleasure of working with Abran for several years now. And when ChatGPT came out, having had already been working in the AI space, I started getting a lot of inquiries from businesses and organizations asking me to help them out with different projects, and I got to be selective in that time period. And one of the things that started to concern me was the lack of concern and awareness around the safety and the lack of guardrails, especially at the beginning, that were around the inquiries that were being put into and coming out of these AI models, especially when it came to younger users. And that was of great concern to me regarding the bias that was in these models, regarding the hallucinations that were coming out. I have a great passion for making sure that these models or the outputs that were coming out were as void of these bias and hallucinations as possible. And so I developed a program that would filter these out as much as possible and would address these biases as much as possible. And that was GuardRailz, and it became a tool for specifically for education. And that was where one of the projects that Abran has been a huge advocate for and appreciate. And through that work, also discovered that there was a huge gap in web accessibility issues. And web accessibility is also a true passion of mine. And so I've also been able to create some programs that help organizations of all sizes ensure that they have met their web compliance accessibility guidelines and their ADA guidelines, to ensure not just that they're meeting the guidelines, but that they're actually helping people who are have needs that are supposed to be met by these guidelines, that they're actually helping those people, that they're actually making the web more accessible for everyone. And it's not just about whether you have a physical disability, but there's so many other things that fall within those guidelines that I'm very passionate about helping make the web more accessible for everyone. And those are my passions. And it's such an honor to be able to work with the Create Labs team and be able to bring my AI engineering skills to the projects that they're working on, and helping them build out the technology that incorporates all of those skills.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. So now you see the AI vendors that we pulled together to create this product, and all with a core common mission of social good. There was this moment with all this travel to Mars, work, and that I've been researching, and for all the missions that they're planning to travel to Mars, I heard from one of these astronauts that was planning to go to Mars, and they said that the way that they put together this team to go to Mars on this first voyage was that they wanted people from various domains and various skill sets, and life experiences to go to Mars, and they'll teach them how to be astronauts. So that's been my model here at Create Labs, is that I want people with lived experience, with different, expertise in working with humankind, and being, social impact advocates. And I'll teach you AI. I'll teach you this domain. I don't want a room of just like an echo chamber of a bunch of AI engineers, from Silicon Valley, just, all cut from the same cloth. I want people with different perspectives. And I'm so proud of this team and what we've been able to accomplish. So, Kanene, why don't you, help us understand, like, what was the opportunity with this product, and why did you see a unique, transcending, connection from your work in the social impact space and the opportunity that was created here with EMPWRD?
Yeah, so I think, to try to make it long story short, so I've always thought about how people who can or can't communicate be able to communicate. My brother has speech issues, and so from a young age I was like, what is this career called? Speech pathology. So then I studied speech pathology at Howard University when Ebonics was a big controversy, this notion of Black English. And so I started to learn not just speech pathology, like the mechanics of what it takes to receive and express communication, but also the politicization of language and how people can be canceled, shunned, silenced, shamed for how they speak. And that always resonated with me. And so I started to look at augmentative alternative communication devices. This is back in 1997, 1998. And I was obsessed with, again, how technology can be used to amplify and equip people with the ability to speak, to share their story, to shine a light, to be their fully human selves. And in this artificial intelligence space, ironically, large language models, neural networks, and that notion of ebonics and bias back then in language has really shifted my ability to articulate the power of artificial intelligence, and also, again, pun intended, the guardrails on how to use it. And then also in terms of teaching, one of the big pedagogical frameworks is called multiple intelligence theories, right? Not to brag, I'm actually gifted in, I can play piano by ear. I can dance really well. I can even sing a little bit. Again, I do theater. So like I have a lot of different, I write, I can perform, I can be behind, I do a lot. And so I'm neurodivergent, but then I also need help being one thing for one group at one time. And so this is why when you introduce artificial intelligence to me, we'll say it. So I was talking at South by Southwest EDU about talking about difficult conversations in the classroom and how to have them. And Abran approached me with, at the time, DEI GPT. And so when I learned more about artificial intelligence, it's literally multiple intelligence theory. You can literally use AI to create visuals, to create videos. You can use it to generate a voice. You can to generate text. And so literally the through line of my entire life of being a multiple intelligence, multimodal human being has now met the moment with this multimodal artificial intelligence. So this is why I'm like so simpatico with it and so passionate about it, and really wanting people to be set up for success so they can use it as a tool to continue to run that next level of the relay race called liberation, called freedom, called feeling safe, feeling hopeful. And this is why when we rebranded it Empowered, this is exactly what the goal is. When you come to us, when you use Empowered for a tenant association, for a parent association meeting, for whatever event, whatever it is that you want to do, especially in the nonprofit space right now when funding is being cut, we don't have to talk about that, right? So how can you, with the budget that you have, the time that you have, the resources that you have, scale, capture hearts and minds in alignment with the mission and vision of your nonprofit? Use Empowered from the text to the video to visuals, to helping you create plans, to helping you proofread or strategize new ways for you to offer your services to other communities. Empowered is the way. So I think that answers the question in the most.
So here's the opportunity, right, that came out of that, right? Like I see Kanene, and I see what she can contribute with guiding and guardrailing and AI, right? So I'm like, all right, well, do I use a ChatGPT that's trained by a bunch of guys in Silicon Valley, or do I use an AI that's guided and trained by people like Kanene and her brilliance, and other folks in the social impact space that had that brilliance to guide an AI the right way, right? So then I go to Vincent. I'm like, how do we find other Kanenes? How do we find other nonprofits that do amazing work that can further guardrail and contribute data and guidance to an AI system that is transparent about who these partners are, right? We're not hiding what's in the data set. It's not our like Coca-Cola recipe like everyone else, GuardRailz, kind of locks down their black box of like, where'd you get your data from? We want everyone to know, here are all the nonprofits that can add, and all the social impact advocates that can add insight and expertise to the model. And we also want the AI to not give you the expertise. You want the AI to say, well, I know this expert helped add to this data set, and here's the advice that I'm giving you on behalf of this expert. And if you want to learn more about people like Kanene, here's their links. So now is how to scale this, right? And we've been talking, Vincent, to nonprofits. They don't like how they're currently surfaced by chatbots, if at all. Some of them aren't, or if they are, it's just a web scrape. So what opportunity have you presented to nonprofits? And for those that are in the room or other nonprofit talks that we've had, you've had talks with the ACLU and Queerly and other partners, so maybe talk about what the opportunity is for nonprofits to be a part of an AI like this.
Yeah, Abran, I think it's so important. Kanene highlighted a lot of the things that I think about every day. I come from a world of trying to bring tech to kids like you, Abran, and that was where I started when I was at VMware, of working on Apple Education and bringing, an iPad experience to kids that couldn't afford it around the country, with a partnership with Apple. And nonprofits are similar to, I think, education systems. There's not a lot of funding for technology. There's still a lack of knowledge in the technology space as it relates to, wide distribution of like the global north and the global south, if we look at a global lens. And at the end of the day, the question isn't whether AI is going to become benevolent or not. It's who gets to teach it what benevolence means and what does good mean. And AI is going to learn its values from whoever teaches it first. And of course, we know that there's all these large corporate entities that are training their models, and therefore there's some kind of correlation between values and profit. And we want to try to break that model to some degree with some nonprofit partnerships and leverage the nonprofits that are doing good work in the world and obviously have a larger aperture than just profit driven, driving profit for shareholders. And so I work at the Gender Cool Project, which is focused on replacing misinformed opinions of trans and non-binary young people with powerful positive stories of these young people and their families who are thriving. And this is one of the areas in, the youth empowerment movement that I thought I could put some weight behind. As a gay person myself, I thought it was important to be an ally and show up as allies. It's kind of what we're doing at Create Labs with all these nonprofits that we forge these relationships with, where we co-design our tool to meet the needs of the communities that we serve. And of course, we want to have a wide lens. Brian talked about accessibility as being one lens. I'm gay. I also am Latino. Kanene's Black. Bron's from Puerto Rico. Like, we cross a lot of lenses. And we want to continue to open that aperture. So we forge these partnerships with organizations like Queerly, where we're literally co-designing a relationship together and providing inputs into the tool, providing feedback on the prompts and the actual outputs that are coming from the tool, and working together collaboratively to make it better for all of us. And we want to do that with all of you. So send us a message, send me a message. Let's set up a meeting and figure out how we can collaborate with your nonprofit or your social justice network, your community. We are really trying to do this intentionally and thoughtfully so that it is representative of everyone and that this tool does help humanity at scale. And hopefully, these partnerships that we forge aren't just one type of modality. Like Kanene mentioned, AI is becoming quickly multimodal. And so we saw that opportunity to try to make the imagery that we generate multimodal too. So we partnered with Tonal, which is a diverse stock photography company, black and brown imagery, that we've baked into our model. So when you go and type something in to our model to try to get an image generated, it is actually going to represent the right hair texture or the right skin tone that we know these models aren't great at today. And so these are a few of the many examples that we're leaning into to show that AI can be different and it can actually represent, good intentions and hopefully will lead to some benevolent systems and not just a bunch of for-profit systems that we've seen of the past.
And I think
Absolutely.
that really comes into understanding the training and understanding the models. And I think that, having a base understanding of some of these models and where their training comes from and where and how they're trained gets to that. And so it's always good to try to do some research about the models that you're working with and trying to have that understanding, and happy to go into more detail when we have Q&A and things like that, but just kind of baselining that about when Vincent was talking about the image generator that we have. It's because it's trained on different information, and the training data is so critical to the outputs. And so that's really important information, and knowing that having good data is so critical to having good outcomes and having good outputs. And that's why it's so important for us and what we're doing to partner with organizations to have good data, to have good outputs.
Yeah. So I wanna segue into the how, but I want to also kind of lay out everyone the perspective of what's happening now with chatbots, right? Chatbots is going to be a product that's not going to go away. And you have to now think of it as the next medium of society. And these different outlets, the same way we think of like media outlets, is how you need to think about chatbots. So now they're going to be the Fox News of chatbots and the CNN of chatbots, where you have platforms like DeepSeek that are censoring history in their product, Grok, made by Elon Musk, which is intentionally training out LGBT and training out trans and training out DEI out of their model because they feel like ChatGPT leans too left, so they're making Grok to lean right. So you're getting and this is how they train it before you even touch it. So when you ask it an answer, the answer is going to be skewed based on who that training team is. So think of empowered, and a lot of you are still like, what is empowered exactly? It will be your chatbot and image generator, but think of it as like the NPR of chatbots or the PBS of chatbots. We want to be the one that's open with where our funding is coming from, open with where our data is coming from and who our partners are, and with social impact in mind, with education in mind, and solving community problems in mind. So Brian, let's kind of give them a 101 on the how, right? So we're inviting nonprofits in the room to contribute data and to give attribution on where that information is coming from. How does that happen exactly? And you're a GuardRailz specialist, so how do we make sure that their data is safe and the answers out of Empowered are going to be distinctly different from what they would do in a Grok or ChatGPT or a DeepSeek?
Yeah, absolutely. So, trying to just make it kind of a basic, rudimentary, high level version. Essentially, when a query comes in to Empowered, that query is reframed into um, a way where we can send it to our backend, and our backend then asks all of our data sources, do you have any information about this that can help us answer this query? And it could be a very basic query, it could be a very advanced query. So the more information we have, the better our answers are going to be. And so if you are a data partner with us, your data is going to be part of that query. So we send that query to all of our different data sources essentially individually, but this is all happening in milliseconds, right? So it when I describe it out loud, it sounds like this takes a long time, but it's all milliseconds. It's going to all these different data sources and saying, hey, nonprofit group, information data set, do you have any information about this query? And it doesn't just ask about that question, it asks it in the context of the conversation. So, because sometimes we all know that a single question can be taken out of context of what the meaning of the question is if you don't know what the previous questions and answers were in the conversation. So we actually combine it with the context of the conversation and say, this is what the query was, this is the context of the conversation, data set from this company, this organization, do you have any information that can help us answer this question? You do? Great. Let's get that information. And then we take that chunk of information. And we do that with all of our partner data sources simultaneously. Some may not have any information. Some of our data source partners may not have any information that relates to the particular conversation query at that time. So there's no response. But let's say out of 50 different data source partners, 10 of them do. Then the responses, that the information that do relate to that query from those 10 get added into a information chunk that then gets sent to our model saying, okay, here's the query, here's the conversation context, here's all the information from our partner sources. Knowing all of this, generate an appropriate response based upon the information that you have for this conversation. I hope that's a good high level uh, overview of kind of how we're doing things. And so the more data partners we have, the better our answers are going to be to really be able to address and help people's questions and concerns on all things that we're working with.
So
And Brian,
Kanene, he's mentioned queries a lot, and I want to expand on that. So Kanene, why would someone use Empowered? What are some of the things that you would go to Empowered for to help you in a community situation and in a community problem that you might need addressed that would be better, and that'll show us, how it's going to pull in the right information. Oh, you're muted. Oh, perfect.
I was literally multimodal, so I was muted, but I had put it in the chat, the answer. Look at that. So basically, being a data partner with Empowered is literally empowering a brighter future, right? There's only so much that your web traffic and web track is being tracked in a downward spiral right now. SEO is dying. The rise of AI enabled search doesn't necessarily guarantee the same results in terms of driving web traffic back to your website like SEO used to do in the past, right? And so how can you still maintain the lion's share of the attention economy back to your organization so you can continue again to pass this relay race, the baton, to liberate, inspire, inform more people, right? And so Empowered, you can view Empowered as like the new SEO, right? For nonprofits, right? You literally, your data will have legs, 24/7, 365 legs to inform and inspire people all around the country, all around the world. And so what we're doing is we're ensuring that your data is attributed to you, and also a revenue stream and also web traffic going back to you. Unfortunately, a lot of times with these data scrapers, I'm sure you've seen the headlines with multiple big AI companies that this is part of their best practices, right? Is to just scrape it, and they may or may not attribute it because they've scraped it and they don't really, it's just so much data, there's no way to attribute who's who and what's what. We're small AI. We're also I guess fair trade AI, right? We're small batch, right? We're bespoke, we're like little sliders, right? So we're giving you a slice of integrity and accountability back to you for being a data partner. Unlike your data that's already out there by default, we by design will drive the traffic and the love back to you. So that's something that I think we can look forward to in 2025 and moving forward for all the different visions and missions that you have. So depending on the query, so if we I'm sure at some point we're going to do like a demo, right, where we'll actually see what empowered actually is, like, so we're not in this like theoretical, we'll see it, right? And so there's a carousel that I help to think about, right? So like, what are the different use cases that somebody could 24/7 365 even want to get an answer for, right? And again, we're talking about major crises right now, and we're also talking about systemic issues, right? So from housing to healthcare to education, right? So people are going to be asking about access, people are going to be asking about their rights, people are going to be asking about what can they say, what can they do, who can they partner with, what are the resources that are on the ground, right? So they might not know your organization, and if they just do a normal search in Google or Perplex, they might not get you, they might not get your organization. Our goal, like Brian has said before, is to tailor that query to our data set of our data partners so that you can literally get in contact. Even if you're Googling or you're searching, wherever it is you are, you can literally find resources on the ground IRL. So we are a 24/7 365 empowering technology platform to get you from a generative AI answer to your question to a boots on the ground human being that can help you with a solution or to implement the next step in your journey for whatever it is that you're seeking a solution for.
I just
So
wanted
I think
to,
this is a great. Okay, Brian.
sorry, I just wanted to note on that about the SEO aspect, and going back to how I was referencing how our queries work, and that's a very specific and different way than most systems work. As I mentioned, we take that query and the context and we send it out simultaneously to all the different data partners. Well, we're sending it essentially one at a time, even though it's happening simultaneously, but we're sending it to each data set as a separate query. By doing that, we know which one is coming back with some information. Because of that, we know where we're getting that information from, specifically which data partner we're getting it from. And as such, we can track which data partner's information we're adding into the result. And by doing that, we can track whose data we're working with and whose data helped provide the result, and we can give credit to that data source provider. So I just want to clarify how different that is, because when a normal model does it, it just goes to its entire training data and says pull all the information. We're not doing that. We're doing that in a very specific, intentional way to be able to both maximize the benefit from working with partners, but also maximize their benefit and their credit. So just want to share that specific detail.
So I think it's a great time to take the questions from the Q&A. And while I do that, Brian, why don't you just screen share and just kind of like browse around the site so people can see what it looks like in the chat interface. So I'll start with the first question. Well, the last couple questions that came through between Nicole and Hari. Can you please clarify empowered? What we mean by empowered is the new SEO in the context of AI search and recommendations. And what does it mean to be a data partner by Craig? So I'm going to try and combine a couple of these questions into one answer. So basically, when you query, let's say, I have, and we want this to be very non-technical. So you have, let's say, a senior citizen, who's 80 years old, a grandma that's living in, let's say, public housing, and they just go into Empowered and say, my hot water doesn't work, right? Or something to that effect. We want your organization, and say, I live in New York City, public housing. I live in NYCHA. We want organizations that do advocacy work in that region, in that community, to be surfaced. And the nonprofits that help with tenant rights to say, here's how to solve or address that problem. And we can put you in touch through links or referrals to that organization, rather than a ChatGPT telling you how to solve your own plumbing issues. So there's a difference between a generic answer and a very intentional answer with the right resources that come up. Now, the way to really intentionally surface your organization is if you partner with our data partner program. And it's almost like a data fund where it's like a TikTok fund, TikTok creator fund, where you're going to be surfaced as a partner, and your attributions, how many times your organization is surfaced as an answer, goes to a creator data fund where your data is tracked in the answers to almost create like a royalty payment out to these nonprofits. So there's a rev share of the subscription data with the data partners that pay out to the data fund. So we're not asking for anyone's money here today. We're saying, if anything, if you come on as a data partner, you will get payouts from the data fund of all the collaborative partners that are adding resources to the chatbot answers. And you see here, there's some preset ways to prompt the chatbot for different issues that come up in the community. But think, non-technical people in the community need something to just answer a problem quickly without having to worry about a chat GBT telling them how to solve their own problem in a way that they don't know how. And yeah, as you see here, Brian is going through some of the image generators as well, where you can just simply prompt a simple word like family without having to put Black family or diverse family. You could just put family by default and get a very diverse and representative answer. All right, so let's look at some of these other questions here. So, Brian, what platform or apps would you recommend to stay away from because they might not be ethical? So I know it's hard to navigate this space right now with all these products out there.
Grok's the easy.
What's that?
Grok is the easy
Yeah,
answer.
Grok is an easy answer. I would never be a fan of Grok, but aside from Grok, I think a lot of people were concerned about the Chinese models.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
DeepSeek.
open. Yeah, DeepSeek. A lot of people are concerned about Chinese and Russian models. There's a lot of open source models that aren't held accountable to certain benchmarks and guardrails. Where the core four, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, they are holding themselves more accountable with creating safety protocols and policies. So I feel like you're safe using those. But any unknowns that are coming out, these independent ones that you might maybe get pushed as an endorsement from like an Instagram ad, I would stay away from.
And the reality is that when they come out with new updates, so I have a tool that I built within our GuardRailz platform called Compare, and we have in our GuardRailz platform for educators, we actually have basically all the major models, and not just one model per platform, but we'll have all the models from OpenAI and from Anthropic, which does the Claude series, and Gemini, and basically all the models that you hear of. I think we've got 20 some odd different models in the one platform, and we let you type in one query, and then you hit enter, and it gives you the answers from multiple models at the same time, and they're always different answers, including from the same company. So you may ask GPT-5 and GPT 4.1, both from OpenAI, the same question and get completely different answers. Or they may do an update to GPT-5 and it may come up with completely different answer to a question than it would have before its update. So be aware that models are not consistent, and their training data and how the training data deals with prompts is not consistent. There's something called model drift, which is another thing that was more impactful in earlier days, but it's still an important thing to be aware of right now, which is that the consistency of how your prompts work with models changes over time. And so it's not just about what model you're working with now, it's how is that model, that same model that you found that you think is really good, may not be as good a month from now. And unfortunately, the best AI model for your use case is a moving target. And it's one of the things that we're constantly working on with Empowered is updating and maintaining and testing. We don't always use the same model and the same responses. We're constantly updating and making sure that we're providing the best possible prompting for the best model use cases to provide the best outcomes, because it is a moving target. So it's something to think about when you're looking at models for your nonprofits and for your organization, is that you've got to constantly test your prime prompts that you're using and their outcomes, because they may not always be the best models to use.
So, Brian, we have another technical question, and we'll keep it with you from Nicole. Do you have any recommendations on prompts or similar to create guardrails to prevent ghostwriting, filler content, and similar be created by AI when getting written content? So, I guess how to pull it through into your own voice without giving you, simulated voices, I believe, is what she's trying to say, to prevent ghostwriting.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably a longer answer than we have for right here, because it's going to be a little bit of trial and error, and again, it's going to depend on the model use case. But what I would do is first get a response, right? Ask your question. So let's say you want to test an email, you want to write an email that's going out to potential donors, and you say, write me an email that's aimed at potential donors, and it's about our fundraising efforts for 2026 with this information. And it gives you an output, and it's very cookie cutter. You can, what I have found very helpful is ask it to interview you. Ask it to interview you about this situation. And you can use voice mode as a very good tool if it's one of the models that has voice mode, ChatGPT or others. But even if it doesn't, tell it, say, type in, uh, I to fully understand what I want from this email, please interview me about our fundraising efforts in 2026. Think of it as a podcast interview. Be very personable and ask me the types of questions a interviewer would ask during a podcast. I know that sounds weird, but stick with me here. Then it will ask you those types of questions and say, ask me one question at a time until you feel comfortable that you really get a good feeling for it. Then rewrite the letter. You will be astounded by the difference in the letter you get back. And it's going to be much more personable, much more impactful. And you can even give it additional details, like now write it like it's coming from me. Give it that extra bit of information. But that interview technique helps a lot. Interview me. Ask me, and always put it questions one at a time. Otherwise, it'll give you like a series of questions. Always say,
That's
ask me, interview me questions one at a time to get to this.
I appreciate that, Brian. So I think we're at time, but we are going to have a lounge session breakout as well to do a deeper dive into EMPWRD. So for those of you who are interested in the data partner opportunity to learn more how to use this for your community and collaborate with us on this, feel free to join us in that breakout session. But I appreciate the opportunity here and just being a part of this community with you all. And I'm really excited for the rest of the event. And I've seen a lot of great AI stuff coming your way. So you're all going to get a great, class and intense, one-on-one on how to be equipped with AI. But Floyd, take it away.
Thank you so much. Y'all, can y'all give it up for this amazing panel in the chat? First of all, this team is on 10. Okay. They were giving us the stats, the facts, the figures, and the quotes. Okay. That was absolutely everything. And y'all, we talked so much about how we're building equity into our AI principles and practices. But one thing that I love that they talked about is that you don't have to go and look externally. They're building it directly into the platform from the onset. And that was just so incredibly powerful. So y'all, give it up for this amazing team one more time. Follow them on LinkedIn. I know I already sent a couple of requests to all y'all. I said, do y'all need an intern? Because I want to just follow you around the world. Like, it was amazing. So thank you all so much. All right, y'all. Well, please. I mean, I thought that was incredible, and I know y'all did too. So let us know, what did you think of that session? Your feedback is so incredibly important to us. We take it all and we send that feedback back to our partners and our speakers, just so that they can understand as well. So take a moment, let us know. And also, as Abran mentioned, they are hosting their own lounge session, y'all. You don't want to miss it, okay? AI for us, by us. Come on, somebody. Let's build better tech together with the Empowered team. And y'all, when they said that Empowered is the new SEO, when I tell you I was finding my keywords as they spoke, let me tell you, if you want to know more about that and search and learn more about their platform, definitely check out that lounge. And y'all know how to get to that lounge, right? You go back to the reception, find at the top of the bar, lounge section, find their session, and then you can join in as well, okay? Let's talk about Summit Plus, okay? You know I've been telling you all day, not Summit Minus now, Summit Plus, okay? Y'all, the biggest question that we hear is what happens now, right? You get so much amazing information, and then you might feel a little bit of overwhelm, and we do not want that. We want you to be able to feel empowered and put everything that we talked about into practice. And so that is why we created Summit Plus. You can join a 3-week AI immersion, either the leadership track or the capability track, plus get unlimited AI Spark sessions by our friends at Play for a whole year with support in the Mission First AI community. Or if you're just testing the waters and you're trying to figure it all out, I understand, because remember, we talked about this morning, one step at a time, okay? One step at a time. You can join the AR Sparks annual pass. It is so amazing, stacked with resources, over $5,000 worth of value, and we're providing it just for you for only $665. And you have that until September 17th. Seats are limited, y'all. Don't come back 3 weeks later talking about, well, I didn't see no more spots. But it's because we told you that they was gonna go quick, okay? Only until September 17th, so make sure you sign up today, okay? Okay. Yes, you are going to get all the recordings. The recordings are going to be available to you, especially when this action-packed day is over. All you have to do is log right back in with your credentials, and you will see all the recordings here for you all, okay? So make sure you take it. And then also, if you come back to the FAI website in about 4 weeks or so, you're going to have even more full access, okay? We can't wait for you to see the amazing impact you're going to create with all these resources. And let's keep on amplifying our impact together. Special thank you to all of our sponsors. Okay, y'all need to make me a promise today. Y'all need to go to the sponsor booth. Are y'all gonna go to the sponsor booth, y'all? Don't listen. I don't want Tiffy to wrap her tentacles around me and say they didn't come. Don't stress me out now. Go to that sponsor booth, say hello, learn a couple things, grab a pamphlet or two, because I'm sure there is somebody here that's going to help you thrive, okay? So go in there and check out the sponsors, okay? And special thanks to our presenting sponsors, Virtuous and Giving Tuesday. We love y'all, okay? Thank you so much. Giving Tuesday is the global movement, right? That unleashes power of radical generosity around the world. Giving Tuesday reignites a world built upon shared humanity and generosity. Our global network collaborators year-round to inspire generosity around the world with a common mission to build a world where generosity is part of everyday life. Whether it's making someone smile, helping a neighbor or stranger out, showing up for an issue or that people care about, or giving some of what we have to those who need our help. Every act of generosity counts, and everyone has something to give. Learn more and access their incredible resources for nonprofits at givingtuesday.org. Coming up next, y'all, we got a whole show ready for you. And guess what? All of these sessions are CFRE approved, okay? CFRE is para mí, okay? That's a certified fundraising executive. If you want to get your points, make sure you go to one of these sessions, okay? Right here on the Amplify stage, we got all the partners, okay? From data to decisions, how AI is powering smarter strategies for fundraising, hosted by my good friend Woodrow at Giving Tuesday. We also have Jill Tennant from Microsoft, my homeboy Charian from Kindsight, Paul from Blackbot, and Chad from Innovator. Come on, somebody. On the innovation stage, we have bringing AI out of the shadows. Come on, out of the darkness into the light. Come on now. Strategic AI integration in nonprofits with Darian Rodriguez. And on the impact stage, we have conscious thinking. Improve your AI readiness one prototype at a time. Y'all know how to see that schedule? You go to the top right of your screen, and you hit the schedule button. You're gonna see all of the schedule, all of the amazing sessions. Bookmark the ones y'all want to go to. I know y'all get busy. I know you had to pop out, but when you bookmark it, it's gonna add to your calendar so you can get a reminder. Okay? And let me tell you, I'll be on all day, so that's a reminder. But no, seriously, make sure you take note of the sessions that you want to go to and attend them live. Okay, y'all. I am so excited. The day is just heating up. We have so much good stuff in store. In case nobody told you, I'm rooting for you. I love you, and I will see you soon.